Welcome to the Geekquinox.
Geekquinox.
With you in the afternoon or morning or whenever you want to listen to it.
'Cause it's a podcast.
Enjoy it when you want to.
When you're driving. Or sleeping. But that probably wouldn't help you.
If you're wondering what that song was that played us in, that was the song Anthem by Adhesive Wombat. Adhesive Wombat was nice enough to let us use his music in our show. So thank you, Adhesive Wombat.
Can we start over and introduce ourselves?
Yeah, let's introduce ourselves.
Sorry. Hey, I'm John Beers. This is Clint Ford.
And we were recently at SoFabCon and got to meet a lot of bloggers.
It was pretty awesome. Just getting to take the time to actually sit down and get to meet some of the people that we email with all the time. And then also just get to kind of lend our assistance out to all of the bloggers and help kind of figure out the problems that's been bugging them, from little header errors to just spacing and stuff like that.
Definitely. And we got a lot of questions about how to back up your blog and also how to cache your blog to, make it run a little more securely and a little faster.
These two topics were something that we actually kind of had little experience when we first got there. Most of our stuff is backed up through our big hosting company, and so we don't have to do any of this stuff manually. So we took a little bit of time, kind of dug through the resources that we have and tried to find the things that would help you guys easily be able to back up your WordPress sites and not have to worry about it.
And like you mentioned, that our host provides backups automatically, so that would be a good first place to check if you're not sure if you're getting backups or not. Just email your support team or whoever the contact for your host is.
Yeah. So get in contact with them, see if they're able to provide any, or if they provide like weekly backups or monthly backups. It's definitely a good idea to check that, because anything that's a smaller hosting company that's not doing that, you're kind of at risk to possibly lose stuff like all your blog posts and stuff like that. So you want to be proactive and find the best ways to have that kind of go along in the background without you having to constantly update it yourself, because no one likes to be having to sit there and continually check and make sure they did their backups. So
yeah, definitely check. If your host does that, that's awesome. You want that level of support. The thing to remember there is it will take longer to retrieve a backup from your hosting company as opposed to having your own copy of it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of options that will provide the resources for this afterwards and inside the YouTube description.
Post the links.
We will post the links. So the first one that we're using is a plugin called UpdraftPlus, and that will be posted in there. This is actually one we had another one we were going to talk about, and this one we stumbled upon kind of last minute, and it blew our socks off. And just the amount of options that they provide and assistance. They don't make you go and set up any crazy files or have to write your own PHP or anything like that. They actually just give you little drop-down menus like after it's installed. And then they also give you a lot of options on where you want it to back up. If your site's small enough, you can go in and you can actually have it just send you an email of your database and even like your theme files. And most of the time your theme files aren't going to be too big. It won't back up stuff like the WordPress core files, because those are just generalized. So anyone can use those. And you can always re-download those. Those aren't specific to your site. But it'll back up your plugins, themes, and any of your uploads. And you can also choose which one of these you want to back up. If you don't want to back up the pictures that you've uploaded for your blog posts, you can actually just uncheck those. They also provide backups to remote storages. So if you have the free space through Dropbox or the free space that Google Drive gives you, they actually provide all the options in the settings to tell you, to kind of guide you through on how to get all that stuff set up. So then it'll actually be backing up, and you can set it like from every 4 hours to every month. It'll back up a set of files for you in your Google Drive account and your Dropbox.
That's a really nice option to have if you're posting multiple times per day. because I know we did have one of the bloggers mention that's just her posting frequency. So there you definitely want to have a nearly an hourly backup that you can recall quickly if your site goes down.
Yeah, it's better to just lose one story than lose a week's worth or a month's worth of your work, or all of it if you end up not having anything backed up. So,
yeah, well, hold on. Before we incite a panic of the terrors of what happens if you don't back up your site, we can mention caching your blog. There are 3 ways you can cache your blog. You can do it at the server level, at the page level, and at the browser level, which the browser level caching happens automatically, but it's still worth mentioning because that can change the way your blog looks to people. Browser level caching helps by making quick saves of, the content that you're looking at, and it stores it. If you just refresh the page by, either clicking the refresh icon or, just what Command R, I think. Command R or like F5.
yeah,
If you're on PC, right?
I think you can do Control R as well on PC.
Control R, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that will, refresh the page normally, but if you do like Command Shift R, that will refresh the browser's cache, which will force the browser to retrieve any images, even if it's read the image before.
Yeah. So normally your browser is looking at trying to not re-download the same images over and over and over again. So it tries to store those, and then it asks the server if any of those have changed. So when you're using Command R or Control R or F5 or whatever to refresh, the server's not looking for those. It's just refreshing what it had retrieved the time before. But if you want to make sure that the change you've made is actually on there, what you can do is like Clint said, the Command plus Shift plus R.
Yeah, the main place you'll see those repeated images are on headers. So if you change your logo image, that's how you can make sure that the new one uploaded, is just to clear out that cache. So kind of the next level down for caching is what happens at the page level. And this is where most of the WordPress plugins that you get will cache your WordPress pages. You can reduce the number of requests you're running against the database by storing common questions you ask it as strings, just regular text. And when you do that, it can send the text string faster than it can to parse the MySQL command. So what does all that mean?
Sounds like a bunch of gibberish to me, Clint.
I'm sure about half of it was. But the half that was true makes your site lightning fast.
Lightning fast.
Like, whoa, look out. What was that? It was your blog. It's already gone.
Loaded.
So server level caching, that's where we talk about contacting your host company, because your hosting company will actually have a server level cache.
And this kind of is one of those things that depends on who your hosting company is. Some of them will provide like a high level of tech support where you can actually get in contact with one of the engineers that's working on this with the hosting company. And a lot of times they're able to go in and actually like help answer questions with a lot of that back end setup stuff and kind of tool your server to allow it to work well with how WordPress functions on a server. But that's definitely kind of up to the hosting company. I mean, that's what makes sometimes paying $20 extra per month for a little nicer of a hosting company. The services they provide are usually very beneficial, especially if you're not highly experienced with working in the back end of the server.
Definitely. You want to know your host. They should be the best friend of your blog because they keep everything you have. Like, literally, your entire site's identity is on the server. So, one server level cache is a service like Varnish, which we have had on our sites before at Collective Bias. It's supposed to make the sites faster by storing the entire PHP page and serving that. So it's not dynamically accessing the database, which sounds like a great thing. It normally is, unless you want to bug test for something and you want to get like a new upload through, and it's just serving up whatever cached version it has over what you've uploaded most recently, that's when you get into trouble. That's what we were seeing with Varnish. We've had to have it removed. Like, we've asked them to take it off of our websites. And that's just our results with it. There is a community that does use Varnish, and if it works for your needs, then that's awesome. Because when it works like it should, it's server level caching is where you'll see the biggest gains.
Yeah, it's the way to go if your hosting company can help provide Varnish. Our biggest problem with it is we also do a lot of kind of alternate testing besides just dealing with WordPress, so it was causing a lot of kind of inner problems with the different systems that we were running on our server. But hopefully, if you're just running a WordPress blog on a normal server, you shouldn't have any problems. So we've kind of covered two different kind of scary topics that are dealing with a lot of the kind of hidden things that are running in the background, the stuff that you have engineers and stuff that are working on.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the level of questions that we were getting from the bloggers.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you guys spend a lot of time on your blogs, and I mean, you can definitely tell that you guys read and definitely research as much as you can. So,
yeah, because it put both Beers and I to the task on doing our research for this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely had a lot of time that we had to spend to just kind of refresh and try to gain as much knowledge as we can to provide that knowledge to you guys. So,
all right, we're out of this thing. Let's call it a day, John.
Let's call it a day, Clint.
So if you have any questions, post them.
Do we just want to sign out?
I think we just got to sign out.
All right.
Or we could sign, that's John.
And that's Clint.